Hi there, and welcome to the Everyday Entrepreneur Podcast, where I, Kaitlin Fritz, help you reach your entrepreneurial potential. Together, we can build your dream social impact business so that you can leave a legacy beyond your 9 to 5. Hello, and welcome to this episode of Everyday Entrepreneurship. If you are new here, welcome. I'm so excited you are here. On this podcast, we talk about inspirational stories from entrepreneurs across the world, practical tips and tricks to build your own business, and some ways that you can leave an impact beyond your 9 to 5. So my name's Kaitlin. I am thrilled to be with you today. And I have experience as an award-winning entrepreneur, business coach, and enterprise educator. And I've honestly worked with hundreds of founders from across the world to grow, scale, and even build their impact-led business. So welcome. And today I really wanted to share with you a little lesson from the Idea to Impact Sprint. So if you missed it, from September 21st to the 28th, I've been running a free boot camp where individuals can turn their idea into an impact-led business in 7 days. Yes, you heard me right. Now, as you can know from the name, it's a sprint. I often spend 3-6 months teaching individuals taking their idea to a full-fledged business through accelerators, incubators, and my own coaching programs. But I decided with this back-to-school season to really, jumpstart maybe some of those people who have had that idea percolating in the back of their head since COVID times, or those individuals who are seeing the price of goods rise and maybe want to create a side hustle or additional income with impact. So I'm taking you behind the scenes today to share with you one of the lessons we have on the sprint, which includes business model ideas. Oftentimes, when we're thinking about a potential business idea, we immediately jump to the money, which makes sense. I mean, we need to make an income. That's what separates a business and a hobby. But what happens if you have no idea how you are going to build those revenue streams? So at this point in the sprint, everyone has gone through their empathy map, understanding their problem, their social impact North Star, their solution and value proposition, and we're really just weaving in all of these elements into the business model. So the business model is kind of like a car. You need to put the right things in to get the car moving. So if I gave my little Honda that I had back in the US diesel when it was meant for gasoline, we are going nowhere. And how does this analogy relate to business? Well, certain businesses have a standard model or a standard car. So, for example, business to business, where you are selling B2B, looks very, very different oftentimes than if you are selling directly to your customers, which is D2C, direct to consumer, or B2C, business to consumer. So when you're thinking about your business, what are the industry trends? For example, if you are an ESG consultant, you might pay a retainer, a consulting fee, but you probably don't charge via revenue share or commission. Do you see how there's like a little bit of a mismatch there? So what are the industry norms? Is it retainer, subscription, one-off purchase, commission, revenue share? It's really important you understand that model, i.e. that car, whether it's a convertible or a pickup truck, before you even look at your costs and pricing. And if you're unsure, once again, go do some research. Ask some of your colleagues. Pull out the old-fashioned Google to see what other industry benchmarks there are. Now, oftentimes business models have various revenue streams. So you might make money in more than one way. For example, if I'm using that ESG consultant, they might have a retainer with a medium-sized business where they get their primary source of revenue, but they might also do workshops for corporates at a one-off payment. So map out, I really like doing this old school because I'm a Post-it girl. What are the different revenue streams that will be providing income in your business? Is it your product or service? Maybe it's a digital product, a course, an event, a workshop, a speaking fee. Lay it all out there. Now, when you're looking at your business model, you've dove a little bit deeper into your revenue streams. Now it's the time to look at costs. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a complete episode dedicated to costs and pricing because it can be such a minefield out there. But think about your costs before you think about your pricing. Now, when you did that research earlier, you probably marked down what the industry average is, what competitors charge. Wonderful. That is a great benchmark. But you really need to understand your costs, because if you're selling for less than your costs are, it's going to be very hard to become profitable. And what I encouraged the students in the Idea to Impact Sprint to do is check out this Medium article I wrote, I want to say a year ago, about the ABCs of startup costs. Whenever you are at that phase where you're thinking about pricing, you need to understand, what goes in to every single one of your products or services. Now, business models can be difficult. And like I mentioned, you might think you are a subscription when really you are a one-off payment. So when you are testing the market to see if your business model makes sense, go back to those MVP lean methods. Feel free to have a sign-up page, a pre-sale page, or even a Kickstarter if you are B2C to gauge interest in if this is the right business model for you. And put a timestamp on it. So perhaps you're going to try subscription for the next 3 months, continue to get feedback from your audience, and then decide if that is the way moving forward. Now, it's important to recognize here as well, I might have some side hustlers listening in where your business model is reliant on someone else. And what I mean is maybe you sell via Etsy or kind of a third-party site. Make sure you think about that when you are looking at the mechanics of your business. I love Etsy. I pretty much buy all my Christmas presents on Etsy or Christmas markets. But once again, you are reliant on their technology, their platform, their commission fees. So you might have a business reliant on a platform like Etsy before you move to your own e-commerce store or your own online store or even your own in-person store, because why not? So once again, your business models might iterate, and those fees will need to be included in your costs. So yes, I've already decided in my mind, spoiler alert, next week's all about costs. So we can dive into this a bit more. But what's really important is understanding that entrepreneurship is a process. It is fine to iterate your business model. It is fine to change and try something new. It really is all about understanding how you solve that market need in a way people will put their hard-earned money for. So I know this is a really quick snapshot, but I wanted to share with you some of the conversations we've been having in the Idea to Impact Sprint. And if you've missed out, don't worry. We'll be launching again later this year, early next year, with a new and improved version because this cohort has been incredible, giving me feedback, what they want to learn more, what maybe we cover too much of, too quick, all of that jazz. I am thrilled and lucky and blessed to have some incredible students in this sprint. So if you're listening, kudos to you. But until next time, feel free to drop me a line on Instagram with any of your business model questions. And I'm always, always, always here to help. I get so much joy out of supporting others on their own entrepreneurial journey. So that was this week's sneak peek episode of Behind the Business Models, which we've covered in detail in the sprint. And I look forward to next week's episode all about costs. So thank you for listening in. And until next time, this is Everyday Entrepreneurship. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Everyday Entrepreneurship. To stay tuned and most up to date, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow me, Kaitlin Fritz, on Instagram. And if you have any questions about building your business with impact, drop me an email with the link in the show notes. This podcast is produced by the great people at the Podcast Boutique. I look forward to catching up with you next week. See you then.